Hey everyone, Aiden here with Six Figure Catering. Now over the course of this video, we're gonna basically break down the business model that I use for my business, Convenient Catering, and walk through how you can copy and paste this exact same business model to make $250 an hour selling sandwiches. And actually, the title of this video is a little bit misleading. I actually reran the numbers, and after tax and everything, it's actually gonna be $260 per hour. So just I thought $250 was a pretty reasonable number. When I actually ran the numbers, it was even a little bit higher. So let's get started, my friends. What it comes down to is the basic business model that I use to sell sandwiches to offices and generate this kind of money is called micro-catering. That's what I've termed it, and that's what I call it, right? And basically what it is we're selling one type of food, sandwiches, to one customer segment, corporate clients. Because in the catering space, there's a bunch of different avenues you can go down. You can do events, right? So you're doing either one-time events like a county fair, you're doing events like birthday parties, graduation parties, things like that. There's also a lot of money to be made in weddings. However, this very simple menu that I use at Convenient Catering at my company, where we basically just sell like the easiest to make food where I don't even actually need to cook anything. I just assemble sandwiches super quickly, get them out the door ASAP. It really only works with corporate clients, right? I've experimented with other customer segments, and this is the one where we find where I'm able to get in the door and I'm able to get customers and retain them over the long term. So micro catering is selling one type of food to one type of person, corporate catering clients. So the basic step to go from idea to making money is this. Step one is you're going to find offices with 20 plus employees. Step two, you're going to locate the person at that office who orders food. Step three, you're going to bring them a sample lunch, so they get the chance to actually try your product. Rather than you just describing the best sandwich in the world, you actually hand them a box lunch, and they say, "Oh, thanks so much. No other company, no other catering company or restaurant or food truck has done this. That's so nice of you." Step four, you're going to follow up until they order. And you can follow up several different ways. It doesn't have to be just texting them. It could be emailing them, calling them, sending them letters. I have a bunch of different strategies for actually, following up these people until they order. And then, so you're following up not until it feels comfortable, right? But you're following up continuously every single month until they order. And they could order next month. They could order today. Just last week, I had a customer who, they connected with me and said, "Hey, Aiden, I saw one of the flyers you sent me. I'd love to, get a sample lunch." Because that's one of the ways that I advertise it is in the top corner of my flyers, I say, "Look, I want to get you a free lunch so you can try what we do." And then I gave her that lunch last week. And then actually this morning, she texted me and said, "Hey, are you available to come by on the 31st? And we'd love to do lunch for 38 people," right? And I said, "Yeah, of course. $450 order right there." So step five, you're going to be blowing past expectations, right? So you're delivering, not just decent, but you're delivering, a couple minutes on time. You're dropping off the sandwiches. You're being helpful. You're organizing everything. You're just making yourself an asset to the person that orders food at that office. And then step six is to go in and then get the reorder again, and again, right? Because the basic business model here with micro catering is we're not trying to do just one order. Because I've done orders up to $5,800, right? So big orders where just one order is awesome. But if you get that customer to come back every couple of weeks, every month, every couple of months, that's where the real money is made, in the recurring revenue. So my business right here is we're called Convenient Catering. So let me walk you through our website and all of our social media so you can see that it doesn't take a lot to generate a lot of money doing this business, right? So here's our website. Super simple. I made it all myself. I didn't spend $5,000 having someone do it. I got some pictures of me, pictures of my wife, some social proof right here from happy customers. Even making a joke that my 3-year-old son is one of our employees, which he's not. And then, just more social proof, photos of us doing orders and things like that, right? Now we're Instagram. We only got 20 followers. Who cares? The way I run my business, the way I'm reaching out to customers, very few of them actually follow us online. And so, compared to a restaurant or a food truck, we have, relatively few followers, but that doesn't matter because we have a lot of customers. I have far more customers than I have followers on here. And so at the end of the day, I'm not spending a ton of time and attention on this. I'm spending my time and attention on acquiring customers. With Facebook, only about 8 followers, but we pretty much post every once in a while and just post good pictures of our food, and that's about it, right? Because I'm not trying to go viral. I'm just trying to have a digital footprint where people can see, hey, this Aiden guy knows what he's doing. He's not spending hours and hours making really cool TikToks, but he is clearly a business owner who knows his stuff, right? So that's kind of what we're doing there. So that's my business, Convenient Catering. We've been around for a few months, and we just sell sandwiches to offices. That's pretty much it. Now the math. Let's walk through this real quick. On our website, we go in to our corporate catering page. This is where you can see our you can see all of our menus. And we have a couple different menus. And I told you we only sell one food item, which is sandwiches, but we sell them two different ways. We do a build your own sandwich bar where we basically bring all the ingredients and people build it. It's kind of a fancier thing. It's a little bit more expensive because we're bringing a lot more of the ingredients. Whereas when people do boxed lunches, which is what probably 85% of people do, they're buying a boxed lunch that either has a sandwich for $9.99 a person, sandwiches, chips, and cookies for $11.99 a person, or sandwiches, chips, cookies, and then a little 8-ounce container of fresh fruit for $13.99 a person. So just so you can see our numbers right here, that's how much I charge in where I live in Utah. And wherever you live could be a totally different cost, could be quite a bit more, could be maybe about the same, maybe even a little less. Just depends on your area. And so that is what we do. And so basically, this $11.99 a person for the classic box lunch, this is what we sell the most of. Most people, they don't want just sandwiches. They're like, oh yeah, give us some of the extras, but we don't need the fresh fruit. And so this is where a majority of our customers sit, and that's where I'm pulling the numbers for this video, right? Because what it comes down to is I can make 20 classic box lunches per hour, including prep, right? So slicing the meat, slicing the cheeses, assembling the boxes, putting the napkins and the chips and the cookies in it, packaging everything up, labeling the boxes, all the steps that are involved in delivering a flawless boxed lunch. I can do 20 of them per hour. And 20 boxed lunches per hour at $11.99 each comes out to $260.06, right? So we're looking at $260.06 in gross revenue. So that's like the total that I collect from the customer. Now that's actually not including tip. And about 3/4 of our orders, maybe even a little more, 75, 80% of customers leave a tip of, it's usually 10%. Sometimes it's as high as 20%. I've had orders where the customer placed a $2,100 order and then they left a $400 tip, right? And that's always an awesome day, right? Because that's just free money. We're delivering our food. We're going to take care of our customers in the best way possible, no matter if they tip us or not, But so basically, at that $260, we run off about 60% margins. So since we run a very lean, mean business, that means about $156 in my pocket, plus whatever tip they leave. It could be on an order about this size, usually they're leaving a $25 tip. So you're even looking at more like $180 in your pocket, So just to, give you a full breakdown of the numbers, $260 is how much the business makes. Then you got to subtract all of our expenses. Then you're looking at more like $156 plus tip. So that's how the math works. And yeah, really what it comes down to, my friends, is I built a 6-figure business doing this, where, we started just a couple months back and we've already hit our first $10,000 month. We've already blown past our first $20,000 month. The best 30-day span that we've had so far was just over $22,000. And you can see some of the orders that we've done right here, right? So this one, we did our deluxe box lunches where you get all the extras, including the fresh fruit. And they ordered 375 of them, tipped us $200, and that was a $5,800 order. Now this one was a beast, This one I was up all night making food. But think about it, what's the payout on that? The payout is, $3,500 profit straight to my bank account, right? Pretty awesome for a day's work. We had this order, $2,600. This is the one I was just telling you about where it was about a $2,100 order, and they tip us $415. Boom, pretty good numbers right there. An almost $1,200 order, $1,600 order. Now, obviously, these are like our best orders. We have tons of orders for $200, $300, $400, $500. But these are some of like the outliers that just make my life a lot easier. Any week that I have a $5,800 order, I'm super happy, right? Because I don't really need to worry about sales the rest of the week. It kind of takes care of itself. Now, in order to make a business like this work, if you wanted to do this. And, hopefully you do want to do this. This is a really great business. It's, not very effort intensive for the amount of money that you're able to make doing something like this. You're going to need a bunch of different things, right? You're going to need a licensed and legit business. You can't do this if you don't have a health license, you don't have a business license, you don't have a business bank account, you're not, you haven't filed the paperwork to become an LLC in your state, which is, it's all super easy stuff, but it's stuff that has to be done, right? You're also going to need a way to process payments. So I use Square. Is a processor. They have slightly higher processing fees than some of the other options out there, but they have a really easy, platform that customers use to pay that I love. That makes tipping super easy, and it saves their payment info, stuff like that. You're going to need a commissary kitchen to work out of. You're going to need a business email with a branded domain. You're going to need a website. You're going to need a menu. You can copy mine, by the way. Totally cool. You're going to need customer acquisition strategy. So these are ways to basically as simple as possible, this is a way to get a customer. You're going to need customer retention strategies, which is how you get that customer to come back, month in and month out. So, you're not getting just one order, but you're getting an order every single month, every couple of months, whatever their schedule allows for. And just a little hint is the best way to do that is by having a rewards program. Every time they order with you, they get something that they can personally use. And I have a really good one that I use, but can't give away all the details right now, my friends. Now, you're also going to need marketing materials, right? So you're going to need business cards, you're going to need flyers, you're going to need menus. I have really good ones that have worked, and I've gone through many different iterations and, got all of our marketing materials down. You're going to need to know what to say when you're marketing your business, right? Because there's a couple of different points, of items that you're going to want to say when you get in front of a person that orders food for an office to sort of convince them that you're a professional and you know exactly what you're doing. And of course, there's scripts and different things that I have, worked out over years of doing this at restaurants and then now at my own micro-catering business to know exactly what to say. You're also going to need a systematic way to track data. So you're going to need a list of all of your customers. You're going to need a list of everyone that you've reached out to but isn't yet a customer. You're going to need lists of, all the orders you've done. There's a ton of different data that you're going to want to track so that you can, best run your business. And then of course, you're also going to need to find suppliers because, I am not running this business by using bread that you just find on the shelves at grocery stores, right? Because that bread sucks. Let's be real. I work with a commercial bakery that gives me really good product at a really good price. I work with a restaurant supply store to get all of my ingredients, that go into my sandwiches, stuff like that. And of course, I have backups to all of these suppliers that I use in case one stops being reliable. I just switch to the other. That sort of thing. There's a lot of little things that go into a business like this. It's not as simple as just going out there and finding offices to sell sandwiches to. It's a very simple business model, and I can teach you all this stuff very quickly. And so basically, what it comes down to, my friends, is this. In order to make this work as quickly as possible, you don't need guidance from someone who's started the business just like this from scratch. But what it comes down to is you're either going to pay with one of two things. You're either going to pay with your money, or you're going to pay with your time. Now, this is a summarized quote from Alex Hormozy. He's a really big business guy out there that I really like. He's taught me a lot of different stuff, a lot of different things about how to run my business, how to keep customers coming back, things like that. And basically, this is a quote from him that just says, look, you can either get from point A to point B of imagining that you want to start a business to actually starting that business and acquiring your first customer and doing stuff like that. So you're either going to pay with your money, of finding someone who's already done it, already has the info, and learning directly from them, or you're going to pay with your time, which is just you're going to have to experiment till you get things right. Because basically, I've owned restaurants and owned this catering business for about 4 years now. So you can take 4 years of experience, and I can condense that down into videos and trainings for you, and get you on your way, and get you from idea to landing your first customer in a matter of days or weeks. Whereas if you went out and tried to do it by yourself, it would probably take longer because you don't know all the customer acquisition strategies that I have. You don't know some different stuff, right? And that's not me, slamming you by any means. That's just me saying look, I've been doing this a long time. I know how everything works. So, if you want to make this work quickly, super cool. Then basically what it comes down to is if you want a shortcut to make this business work, then let's book a call with you and me. We can just chat about how to get you on the right track in creating your own micro-catering business as fast as possible and get it, profitable as soon as possible. So if you do want to do that, then just check the video description below and book a call with me. I'm super available. I'd love to chat this through with you. And yeah, hopefully you think this is an interesting business idea. And honestly, if not, if you don't want to work with me, no worries, my friends. Best of luck. And I super sincerely mean that. Hopefully this video has sort of sparked some interest in you, and you're like, oh, this micro-catering business sounds pretty cool. I'd like to give it a try. So regardless of whether you want to work with me or not, I genuinely wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you can get up and running and start landing some customers, making some serious money. But yeah, anyone who is interested, book your call. I'd love to chat. And that is going to wrap up the video. I appreciate you all, and have an awesome day. See ya. Bye.